Hong Kong's bustling cityscape, public spaces transform into vibrant social hubs every Sunday. But have you ever wondered why so many foreign domestic helpers choose to spend their only day off in these public spaces?
I'm Maidi. Magpi 50 years old na. And 5 years na in January dito sa Hong Kong, working as a domestic helper.
Pangalan ko si Lilia.
Susan, almost 12 years. Yung experience ko as a domestic helper for almost 12 years here, not so bad kasi napunta po ako sa mabait na amo. So they considered me as a part of their family.
Naman yung mga amo namin, may ugali din sila hindi namin naintindihan, pero kinakaya namin, para magustuhan din kami.
Yung umpisa, sortihan kasi. Ayan na naman magiging emotional ako Pero sa umpisa wala talagang madali. Bibihira yung amo na matchempo mo na. From the start, mabait. Pero lahat kami, rough. Ewan ko kung ba't ganun. Tumatanggap sila ng helper, pero hindi ba pantay yung turing?
Ang dapat talagang i-consider ng gobyerno is yung working hours ng mga domestic helpers. That is number one. Kasi very long. Yung mga ibang Filipina, most of them is sleeping around 12, 1. Yung isang kaibigan namin 3 a.m. in the morning.
Marami yung overwork, over sa hours, less ang food. Marami sa domestic helpers yung parang yung accommodation is parang kabaong. Yung size ng nila, ng tinutulugan. At saka lahat talaga para kaming yung nakabaon yung isang pasa. Depende na. Marami kasi yung nagkakasakit din. Kasi magtitiis talaga, di ba? Dito, balance naman yung patas. Pag nagsumbong ka naman sa labor, tinutugunan naman nila. Kaya lang, ewan ko ba, meron kasi mga Pinay na hindi talaga, yung hindi sila man mag-complain, tapos nagtitiis na lang talaga sila. Ayun, yung pala, sobra-sobra na. So, ang nangyayari, nag-depress. Ang iba, nagkukumit ng suicide. Prone ang domestic helper sa depression, lalo na kung halimbawa yung family na iniwanan sa Pilipinas is sobra ang problema na ibinabato. Ang dami nila doon, tapos si domestic helper is solo lang. Tapos ang pamilya kong napuntahan, sobra ang sa kanya, di ba?
In every year, ganun lang, 100 ang tinataas. So what is the point of raising 100? You know? Kasi ang tataas ng bilihin and every year tumataas ng 5% yung mga bilihin.
Mostly ang local, minimum or above minimum ng konti, pero mas marami yung workload and pagkain, swertihan din kung magbibigay ng more than enough. Pag hindi na ibigay yung enough dun sa mismong food allowance namin, kami na mismo yung gumagawa ng paraan para maano namin yung kailangan namin pagkain. Siyempre, ginusto namin to, di ba? Para sa family. So, kailangan tatagan namin.
Usually Sunday kasi, mas marami kang friends. So pag weekdays, bibihirang mga kaibigan mo ang lumalabas. So we prepare, talagang prepare ko talaga.
Alam mo kung titingnan mo yung mga nakaupo dyan, naligayahan na namin yung ganito na mag-bonding. Hindi naman kami kasi pwede magstay sa loob ng bahay dahil meron din naman na employer na kahit rest day mo at nasa loob ka ng bahay, parang obligado ka pa rin na gumawa. Meron din kasi nagtitake advantage.
Gusto nila parang isti na lang.
Pag winter, malamig. Imagine mo na lang yung para kaming nasa freezer, sa loob ng freezer. Frozen fish. Pag naman summer, dinaing na fish. Kasi mainit, di ba? Mainit Tapos pag nag-uulan, di ba? Swimming fish. No, yun yung realidad No choice kami, di ba? Wala naman kami pupuntahang iba. Dito lang kami.
Nandiyan na raw pulis ako. Takbo kami. Kasi ako na. So, bawal talaga. Bawal talaga.
What do you think about the foreign domestic helpers staying outside, and how would you feel if you were one of them?
I think I mean, I think it's fine because knowing that that is the only time that they're able to kind of have that alone time or that time with their friends, I think we should be more accepting of it. Like, and if I were a domestic helper, honestly, I would hope that other people would also be accepting of that.
Do you know some domestic helpers are actually facing abusement and inequality? And what do you think about that?
So I've heard of the abuse that they do face because I've also had like domestic helpers growing up, and then I've heard other families having them as well. Obviously, I think it's really unfair because they are people, and honestly, they are the backbone of a lot of Hong Kong kids growing up. So I think it's unfair, and like the government needs to play a more pivotal role in changing that. So
Foreign domestic helpers primarily perform household tasks such as cleaning, cooking, and laundry. They often take care of children and the elderly, handling responsibilities such as feeding, bathing, and providing company. As migrant workers, they adapt to different cultural settings, playing a vital role in supporting households. Foreign domestic helpers can be categorized as part of the working poor. They make a minimum wage, but at the cost of long hours, arduous working conditions, and inadequate living spaces. A lot of it is also sent back to their families, as they're often the providers or breadwinners, thus making every penny count. Due to the nature of their job, their freedom and capabilities are likely restricted by their employers, such as curfews, staying in, socialization, mobility, privacy, and more. Additionally, foreign domestic helpers are usually not able to speak the local language due to their cultural backgrounds. This may restrict them from accessing various information, interacting with their surroundings, and serving a degree of alienation. Some rights aren't granted to them, such as qualifying to be a permanent resident, which excludes them from perks such as education, sponsoring relatives, voting, public health care, and the limit of stay. They provide services to their employers until they no longer can, perhaps due to illnesses, earning just enough to sustain their families. Ultimately, they have no choice but to be sent back to their country to fend for themselves without a safety net. This hinders social mobility and perpetuates their position as the working poor. Employers may benefit from avoiding proper compensation as they can expend less resources, and the government may have an interest in maintaining the status quo to minimize costs and administrative burdens. But the government also recognizes the need to improve foreign domestic helper rights for economic, social, and legal reasons. Foreign domestic helpers themselves also seek improvements in their rights and working conditions to enhance well being, fairness, and overall quality of their life. Civil society also advocates for equality, social mobility, and fair treatment of working classes, including foreign domestic helpers, to challenge systematic barriers and promote a more equitable society. Different sectors can help improve the circumstances of foreign domestic helpers. The government has existing laws and regulations in place to protect the rights of foreign domestic helpers, including provisions for rest days. Hotlines are also available for foreign domestic helpers to seek assistance, but while the government is committed to ensuring the rights of foreign domestic helpers, additional measures could include ensuring minimum wage keeps up with inflation, implementing screening processes to prevent employers with a history of mistreatment from hiring foreign domestic helpers, ensuring their financial and holistic suitability, strengthening support and connections with NGOs to enhance assistance for foreign domestic helpers, and establishing a viable pathway or process for foreign domestic helpers in Hong Kong to become eligible for permanent residency. NGOs or unions can provide holistic support to address foreign domestic helpers' concerns and ensure a decent standard of living, such as counseling, and act as more approachable, inclusive, and flexible middle persons who can vouch for foreign domestic helpers and bridge cultural barriers, as compared to the bureaucratic procedures of the government. Individuals can reduce biases and discrimination towards foreign domestic helpers, dispel negative perceptions and stereotypes to prevent a culture of abuse and ensure proper treatment of foreign domestic helpers. While the previous solutions provided general overviews, we propose our feasible solution to be officially recognizing Sundays as designated rest days for foreign domestic helpers. This acknowledgement is crucial for their well-being and the establishment of support networks. Prohibiting them from socializing on Sundays would significantly impact their quality of life. To ensure fair treatment, we suggest incentivizing rest days to be on Sundays or providing additional compensation for foreign domestic helpers who are required to work on those days, much like working on actual holidays or overtime. By designating specific public spaces for foreign domestic helpers on Sundays, the government can allot safe and comfortable environments while minimizing disruptions to private properties. Equipping these spaces with suitable shelter, water stations, and trash cans would incentivize foreign domestic helpers to go to these spaces and protect them. This official recognition would improve the perception and treatment of foreign domestic helpers, dispelling the notion that they are obstructing the public. Instead, their right to a dedicated rest day would be acknowledged, fostering a more supportive attitude from law enforcement agencies such as the police. Globalization reminds us of our shared responsibility to create a fairer world where every worker's dignity and rights are respected.